guys. So, I just got finished filming another vape review. I'm doing a lot, I know. I do a lot of different topics here on the channel. And, wow. It's like, I want to focus on this. I have so many ideas. I'm writing a lot. I carry a notepad right beside me so I can write my ideas down. I have so much to share with you guys, so much to talk about. But it can be really difficult when you're kicking off your channel because in my world, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, I'm trying to make a living. You know, I have a job and it can be really hard. You know, you have to practice really good time management. The world, man, people have been suffering since the pandemic. People have been laid off work. People have been struggling, you know, and for me, it's like, I guess the last 6 years, really. And yes, I promise I'm going to get right into this topic. I have a topic for you today. I want to talk a little bit about twin flames. Because of my video editing app, I'm having to keep my videos around 20 minutes and cut them off, or they will cut off. I can't upload them until I get better filming equipment or whatever, better editing. So I'm going to have to be quick, and I will make this a series. I'm going to get into talking about the twin flame thing in relationships and what I have come to understand about it really over the last 15 years since I first heard the term. How I've grown in my thoughts about twin flame and relationships. I find it very interesting, and I think you will too. Some of my perspectives on it and what I've learned and come to accept for me. Before I get into it, yes, it's very important to me. I want to provide regular content for you guys. You know, I'm trying to do so. But again, it's a struggle out here to make a living, to keep the bills paid. And, you know, it actually does take time to sit down and write the content, do the research, put some thought into it, get it filmed, get it edited somewhat, you know, properly. It does. It takes time and effort if you want to put out something quality for people. And I do. That means a lot to me. And really for the last 6 years, man, I've just kind of been through one thing after another thing, all the plans and goals and path that I wanted to take in life due to my own choices and circumstances beyond my control. Woo, it really took a different turn for me. And I will be sharing some of those experiences that I've had to come through in the last 6 years. You know, everything from losing my older brother. Drug addiction runs heavily in my family, as does mental illness. Everything from losing him in 2015 to losing another brother, my baby brother, on my birthday in 2018 while he was in the midst of a scuffle with the police in my mother's backyard. He suffered from mental illness. It was a terribly devastating thing for us to lose him. He was 32. Then not 4 months after that, my precious little sister, who is also in her 30s, carrying her second child. She had a miscarriage at 7 weeks a year before, and then in 2018 she was carrying her child. 9 months, thought she was going into labor. She carried the baby the whole pregnancy, and come to find out in December of 2018, we got to the hospital and her baby was stillborn. It devastated our family. I still haven't grieved properly over all of these things, dating back years now. Also, a relationship that meant the world to me with someone who is a lifelong alcoholic, and watching him suffer and all that I went through with him and trying to rebuild my life after that. All kinds of things that I have, then the pandemic hitting the world, all kinds of things that I've had to just fight tooth and nail to survive and come through. I've got a traumatic background in my childhood, lots of things, okay, to share with you guys. Homelessness, my own struggle with a short-term addiction, and recovering from that. Lots of things to share with you guys, okay? But it has really been hard for me. I've made a lot of progress this year in bouncing back and stabilizing myself after so much loss. You know, getting my place, financing a car, getting things back on track so that I can focus on content, creativity. And it's still a struggle. I have to drop everything and go to work. I have to keep a roof over my head, food to eat. I know a lot of you can relate to that. But I'm determined to pull this off, to do all of these things. I am not monetized. My channel is still very small. It's growing, though. I'm proud of that. And at some point, I may get up a donation, a place where people can make donations if you'd like. That would be very helpful to me in working my way back and getting my channel, you know, growing even more as I make this thing happen, you know, as I fight and struggle and keep the bills paid and try to have a YouTube channel and make something of myself, you know, contribute something to the world in my own little way, whatever. At some point, I would like to go ahead and get, I guess, get a PayPal up for myself, maybe a Cash App thing. I see that people do that sometimes with YouTube channels. They make donations or whatever. But I know that in return, I need to be regularly providing helpful, useful content to you guys, either educational or entertaining, and I have both coming. So, I appreciate you being here with me. Yeah, woo, that was a mouthful. What time is it? How much time do I have? Oh, Lord. Oh, okay, I'm only at 6 minutes. Good. Because I go over time and then I'm screwed. I can't really get it to upload. My editing app won't convert it. When I want to edit, I like to edit them. I like to put a little music in. I like to do things to them. You know, I can upload it straight from my phone, but it's just plain, like, blah, here I am. Hey, and that's okay, too, sometimes. I've really watched, you know, I'm coming up on a year that I started the channel. I do have an older channel that has nothing but music on it, but that's music and singing. That's something for another day we'll talk about. But this channel, it was almost 9 months ago I started it. And, you know, I had been planning on it for a couple years before I started it. I don't think there's ever the perfect time. I don't think we're ever going to be ready enough. We just kind of have to jump in and get started and trial and error and look back over time and go, wow, look at those first videos I did. Look how far I've come. I've gotten more comfortable. I've learned this and that. I'm still learning as I go. You know, trying to get better and better with the content, putting links in the description boxes for you guys, things to check out or my references, whatever. I'm learning as I go. But I know a YouTube channel takes time to, you know, grow and learn all you can. So that's just basically what I'm trying to do. Now, let's jump into, real quickly, let's jump into talking about twin flames a little bit, okay? In spiritual communities and spiritual teachings, this is a big topic. You know, who doesn't want to believe in love? Who doesn't want to believe that somewhere out there, we all have this partner, this magical love that's meant just for us, that we're going to meet one day, or that's destined for us. Who doesn't want to believe in that, you know? But, you know, you've got to be careful with that term, twin flame. That's my twin flame. You have to be careful with that whole soulmates and twin flames and this, that, and the other. And I believe, you know, there's differences in all of that. They all kind of mean something different. And it just depends. It depends on how spiritual you are. It depends on what personally resonates with you, what works for you. Some people don't care for any of that. They don't believe in any of it. Blah, whatever the fuck ever, okay? I'm one of those people that, yes, I'm a critical thinker. You know, I'm one of those people that I take in all sorts of information. I pull it through my brain. I think critically about it. I also think intuitively about it, feel deeply about it. I use my sort of empathic and more psychic side, more intuitive side, spiritual side to filter, process things. And I also use my more logical, logical side, critical thinking side, and I work all of that together to come out with what works best for me. That's what I do. I don't just go, it's all good or all bad, or it's all this or it's all that. Put that one label and that's it. No, I have to use all of those things and really process things and see what works best for me. What I really feel works best through experience and deeper feeling. And so I took a few notes because really the first time I heard the term twin flame was probably about 15 years ago. And the understanding I had of it 15 years ago around age 30 is much different than the understanding that I have of the twin flame theory today, or the concept. Much different. Because I've studied a lot on it. I've read a lot on it. Different people's teachings, different books, different articles, different creators here on YouTube, teachers, all sorts of different stuff out there about it, you know. And I've kind of taken that all in over all of those years, and at the same time through personal experience in relationships. Monitoring that, growing from those experiences, that is how I've come to how I feel about the twin flame concept today. Okay? We learn as we go. We learn as we go. This stuff takes time. It takes time of going through things and watching patterns and reading all sorts of different information about it from different perspectives, okay? And so I think there's just a lot of misunderstanding out there about it. It's like a lot of people get it in their head that, okay, my twin flame is someone that is going to live happily ever after with me. They're just going to be the perfect mate for me in every way. They're going to understand me beyond all others. And also at the same time, they're going to be this person that just tears my world apart. They're supposed to put me through all of these things. They're supposed to put me through hell in order to provoke me into learning, and we're supposed to suffer together. And, you know, okay, there's all of that out there about the twin flames, that it's really supposed to be a person who just tears you to your core. Just, you know, by the way either they act or whatever they've got going on in their life. It drives you to think about yourself and what you're doing, and it mirrors you. The way they act makes you take a look at how you act, and it's supposed to be that person that comes into your world. They challenge you to think differently. They push you. They provoke you. They push your boundary lines, and in doing so, no, none of that's right or none of that's acceptable. Nobody wants that. But in doing so, supposedly, it's supposed to drive you to, you know, in going through that with them, it's supposed to drive you to become a better person, to take a deeper look at who you are, to start waking up to your full power and your path. That's kind of what it's all about, okay? But a lot of people get off in their own little branches of it and make it what they want it to be. Well, of course, but they get stuck there. Like, well, I guess I'm supposed to stay with this person who drives me absolutely crazy, you know, and go this suffer love thing, which I am not down for. Putting a cool label on, oh, she's a down girl because she suffers for love. There's no fucking glory in that. You wake up old, worn out, giving the best years of your life to someone, and you wake up one day and it's like, what? Okay, I gave all that time and they're just now changing, and they may not ever change. They may not ever be compatible with you or considerate of you, or what? You want to give all that time and energy to somebody who didn't want to change until they got so fucking old, their body got broken down and they just couldn't get out and do the same things anymore? They were too old to go party. They were too old to put you through hell. That's the only reason they stopped. I'm just saying, I'm not down for suffer love. Not down for giving all that time and energy to somebody who just keeps on and on a path that is not respectful to you or even considerate to you. Don't do that. Wait all those years and put all that time in, and you wake up one day and you regret it. You look back on some of the best years of your life. You know, so it's like, first of all, off the top, abuse is never, ever acceptable or excusable. Don't ever stay with someone who's abusing you. I don't care if you do think that's your twin flame. Now, I want to break down the balance of this. There are people that are very extreme. It doesn't exist, it's stupid, or it does exist. It's everything to me, and I'll stay no matter what, because that's my twin flame. I don't care if he hits me, she stomps on me, she manipulates me, she isn't good for me, she's an addict, he or she. Okay, those are two extremes that I don't like. I don't go for that, and that's not what it's all about to me. So let's just get that straight right off the top. If a person is abusing you, hitting you, physical violence, emotionally abusing you, calling you names, degrading you, disrespecting you, cheating on you, manipulating you, always using and using you, always got a sob story, draining you for pity all the time. If a person is abusing or taking advantage of you in any way, you do not have to tolerate that. I don't care if you feel like that is your twin flame, okay? And yes, I've been in a situation like that where, yes, I still believe that's my twin flame, but I'm not going to sit up under it if it's toxic for me, okay? That is not what it's about. It's not about staying someone you're totally incompatible with just because you think, oh, that's the love of my life. We learned so many lessons together. I see progress in this. But God, they just drive me absolutely insane. I'm in certain areas of my life, I'm losing my identity. I can't be myself. I'm sacrificing this and that. You kind of just have to weigh that out with common sense. You still have to have boundaries, your own personal identity. It's not about, the twin flame thing is not about putting so much focus on that other person and love and living happily ever after with them that you are codependent. You become codependent, and you base everything you do in this life on whether or not they love you, on whether or not they're going to be with you, on whether or not you're going to live happily ever after together. That's not what it's all about to me. So, after my years of study on it and different relationship situations and experience, what I have come to understand about the twin flame concept, in my current relationship, the very last one, I went 20 years, I've married twice, divorced twice, several dating situations. One was very serious, off and on for 10 years, but we didn't live together. Then I went a long number of years living alone, finding myself, going to therapy, developing my identity, my passions, raising my children, going to school. Long years not getting serious with anyone. It's important for us to do that, I think, you know, so that I wouldn't be codependent. If I did meet a partner in the future, I could be healthy-minded with them. I spent that time. Then, about almost 6 years ago, I got involved in another serious relationship. I thought, okay, it's time. In a way, it wasn't the right time. And in another way, I was ready. And I thought, okay, I'm going to walk through this. I devoted myself to that 100%. And I've learned a lot in the last 6 years just through going through this relationship with him. He and I both, we are on the same spiritual level for the most part. We study a lot of things together. We've done a lot of psychological work together, and we've had a lot of toxic issues together. He is a lifelong alcoholic. A lot has happened in this relationship, and I've learned a lot, grown higher and higher understanding of what the twin flame relationship is about just through being connected with him. He and I both believe in it. We both believe in the twin flame thing, and we both feel like we are. We've discussed it heavily. But we have a certain understanding about it, okay? And the understanding that I've come to Pete Sapper at Empath Uprising, the channel name is now the Chosen 144. The name has changed. Really helped me last year to come full circle with my understanding of the twin flame theory. He and his teachings brought all the missing puzzle pieces for my relationship, for me to understand this better. And the book called The Education of Oversoul 7. I'll have to do a whole other video just about that book. That book also had a hand in my understanding of the twin flame. But the understanding I've come to, both my partner and I, and it's a very hard thing for us to accept, is that you may not live happily ever after. You may not even be able to stay together. The twin flames will generally go through a separation period. The reason they are brought together and drawn together in the first place is because they have issues that each one of them can mirror in each other and drive each other and challenge each other to go ahead and align with their higher selves. Then is when the concept of the Oversoul comes in. This can get complicated, but this theory is what resonates with me most based on the experience I've been having, where I'm at with all of that, and different teachings. It's what resonates with me most. The people come together, and a lot of times, yes, they can be your greatest love on all levels. Just so physically compatible, mentally, emotionally, spiritually compatible. It just feels right, the energy, but also at the same time, they bring massive amounts of spiritual lessons to you. Very hard, challenging spiritual lessons. Things that were buried inside you from childhood. They trigger those things to come up for healing. And they literally teach you the whole time, and it may not be in the way that you expected it to be. So there's a lot I have to talk about on this topic. And a lot of times, you may not be all the way compatible in other levels. And a lot of times, there is a separation period for the twin flames, where you have to go apart and work on your own identity. Because a lot of times, you come together, codependent issues, low self-esteem issues, abandonment issues, trauma bonding can be involved, addictions. A lot of times you come together, and if you're not ready on a certain higher level with your higher self, having worked on and healed a lot of the issues in your past, if you're on, highly addicted, if you've got all that going on, you will not be able to love that person in the highest and healthiest way possible. And the union they talk about, the union between the twin flames, will not be able to take place if you have not done your work. So, more so than it being about, we're going to live happily ever after. Everything I do in this world, if I go to work, if I work on myself, am I going to get you? Are you going to come back? Are we going to live happily ever after? It's not about fixating on that, because the answer is, the more you dwell on that and make it all about only that, and you're only motivated by that, the more that twin flame situation is going to evade you. The more it's not going to work out. I've experienced it firsthand. It is more about that person actually motivates you to want to become a better person. Even if they're not going to be in your life, even if you have to let them go, they still motivate you. They had a hand in triggering things that came up to heal, and they motivate you to get on to your higher purpose, your hobbies, your goals, your personal identity. It's not about all of these codependent, clingy, toxic things. You can't make it all about, oh, that's my true love forever, and we're going to live happily ever after, and you're not even a whole person. A lot of people want to jump the gun. So there's a lot to understand about the twin flame relationship. There's also a lot to understand about the Oversoul if you want to believe in that type of thing. I find it very interesting how two people can be a part of the same Oversoul. There is a great book out there, The Education of Oversoul 7. And it just kind of all goes together. I find it fascinating and interesting. And that's what that person drives you to do. And I'm going to get into this in a part 2 because I'm going over time. And I'm going to share some of the things that my partner and I have had to work through in our relationship, things we've figured out and understood, and things we're having to come to peace with and accept that are not quite the way we wanted it to be or accept it to be, or, you know, we have a hard time accepting it to be. Not the way we planned it to be, but we kind of also understand that it's all for some higher purpose in our lesson. It's why we were brought together. We kind of understand this, and, you know, we're really in the midst, still in the midst, after almost 6 years, of a lot of growing and having to unwire old patterns and really understand. You know, I don't know if a lot of couples take time to do that while they're living their life and going through all kinds of toxic issues or fighting or this or that or putting one label on it. Well, you're just bad or you're just this. Instead of taking the time to kind of unpack all that stuff in each other and understand what lessons are here. What do we need to do with all this? There is a strong love and a strong pull between us, but what are our barriers? What is this all about? And what do we need to do as separate souls? What do we need to work on? You know, so I've got a lot on this, you guys. I will come back in a part 2. This will kind of be a series, and we will continue talking about it. Join me for the next part of this, because I'm going to get deeper into, basically, the long and short of it before I go. I feel like the twin flame is you. Your twin flame is you. Not some person out here in the world that's going to make you whole or save you or all of those things. Your twin flame is you. The person you always long for is you. Finding that in yourself. But I do feel that two people, because I'm a highly spiritual person. Not a lot of people may believe in this. Some of you may not. That's okay. I do feel like two people, or even more than that, can belong to the same Oversoul. Yes, that's why you feel that beauty towards them, that longing, that magnetic attraction. Two people can perhaps be part of the same Oversoul, and they see things in one another. I'm going to include a link from Pete Sapper at the Chosen 144 channel. If you're interested in learning more about this, he explains it far better than I do. And please join me for my second part of this, because we're going to get deeper into why I feel this way and what I have experienced with my partner.